The NFL comes down with a 10-game suspension against kicker Justin Tucker. The suspension directly related to multiple claims from various spa and massage employees that Tucker acted inappropriately with him. And joining us now this morning to break down what Tucker's suspension means, not only for his future in the NFL, but also for other teams maybe looking at him, founder of the DLE agency and Achilles PR, Doug Eldridge. Good morning, Doug.
Hey, good morning, Tom.
First things, you and I have talked about this many times, but does this tarnish his most likely Hall of Fame career, and will he still get in, do you think?
Statistically, he's a first ballot inductee. I mean, he's the most accurate kicker in NFL history at almost 90%. 13 seasons, 7 Pro Bowls, 5 All-Pros. He was the last remaining Raven prior to being released in May from that 2012 championship team. On paper, he's a shoo-in. The question is what off-field implications we'll have on that ballot. Baseball is a little bit more damning in that regard. I think as the dust settles, Tucker will find his gold bust there in the Hall of Fame.
So do you think, I mean, when you start looking at this, what does this do for the NFL? When they start looking at their policies now, do you think this will change it at all? Or do you think we'll see some changes, maybe something that comes down across the board because of what Tucker is accused of?
Well, I think it's problematic for players across the board, right? Because Tucker is not the first. Deshaun Watson, the quarterback for the Browns, was accused by over 20 women, all linked to massages, some in-home, some at massage parlors or spas. So it's a trouble spot for players for potential allegations.
And also owners. Owners, too, because you have New England Patriots owner. I mean, there's not just players.
Absolutely. It's not relegated to players. I mean, it is problematic. I think as a league, when the Players Association and the league, after this season comes together, I think they'll discuss implementing more in-facility treatment opportunities for players so they don't have to seek these outside opportunities. It does raise a question for Tucker's future, as you asked for, from the jump. But look, I'm a big believer that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. As it relates to on-field prospects, it's a tough spot for him. He's 35 years old. As I mentioned a moment ago, the most accurate kicker in history, but he's coming off statistically his worst season. He made 20 out of 30 or 21 out of 30. It was his worst season. He's on the wrong side of 30, approaching 40. I don't want to sound gloom and doom.
Right.
Every team is going to take a serious look at this guy, but for the first time in his career, he brings some off-field baggage. And in the post-Me Too era, that is a measure twice, cut once situation for teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's not where you think he's going to go down the same path as like a Ray Rice, where it's like his career is done in the NFL.
Well, you never know. I mean, gosh, Tom, I remember being on CNN at the time, not defending the NFL's position, but trying to explain to the other panelists, look, in the collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, there's no discretion for the commissioner or the league to give arbitrary punishments.
Okay.
Everything is scripted based on the level of evidence and the severity of the accusations.
Right.
Now, it's important to note that throughout this, Tucker has maintained his innocence, but the fact that the league came down with a 10-week suspension is significant. They don't find their investigators on Craigslist. Most of these guys are former law enforcement. They turn over every rock, and they must have found something. It harkens to the old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. For him to get a 10-week suspension, they clearly found something. But they will not release those findings, and Tucker has, in fact, maintained his innocence throughout.
Real quickly then, Doug, as a lawyer yourself there, does this validates the women's arguments then a little bit then, if you look at this, is this something where it would go more towards a civil court matter and Tucker is going to be facing a higher penalty than from his accusers?
Well, that's a great question. Now, going back in the timeline, and just to give you a succinct answer, there was never criminal charges filed nor an investigation. There's always the opportunity for civil suit, but as we always say, you can sue a ham sandwich if you want. That doesn't denigrate the veracity of their claims, but the fact that he has received punishment, presumably for some finding of wrongdoing, it certainly opens a wide door for potential civil litigation moving forward.
With Achilles PR and the DLE agency, Doug Eldridge, always great to have your expertise. Thank you.
Great to see you, Rogers. Have a great weekend.